Hi, everybody. Welcome to Snarky with Mike Feeney. I'm your host, Josiah Zachariah. I could have thought of a name. I had so many hours to think of. I had a week to think of a name to put in meanwhile, but you know what distracted me? I'll be fully honest. I bumped my book reaching for the drink, and it threw me off. And then I couldn't think of any name, so I said Josiah Zachariah, which I think is a person who makes butter in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, for the Amish. But welcome, everyone. This is episode 2, hopefully, and we're upgrading. I don't know if you noticed, but we have a full, beautiful arm situation going on with a brand new mic. And now, not only that, but we have added a microphone. So now we got Nikki Six on the ones and twos back there, and she could now chime in.
What's up?
There we go. I mean, bringing a lot to the program right away, but we will have more things for her to say in the future. I like it. I have her positioned behind two 27-inch computer monitors that are not on, and there is, she's working back on the laptop, but it's fun because she's not seeing anything that I'm happening. She's just listening to it like a podcast listener. So I'll get the real-time feedback whether she likes this or not. And today we're drinking a margarita. If you watch my Feeney's Friday Cocktail Hours on Instagram, or you just know me at all, you know that I love me a margarita. And I made one for Nicole, who this is her first time having a Mike's Cadillac margarita. And Nicole, tell the people your honest assessment, what you think.
Well, it was really hyped up when I got here, so I was a little nervous about that. But
Me
there
too.
are a lot of layers to it, much more than I've ever experienced, but in the best way.
That's the greatest compliment. I want that on my tombstone now. There were a lot of layers to Mike's margarita and his life, but then just someone crossed out life afterwards, and it was just on the margaritas. Yeah, it's a great time. If you guys are into cocktails like me, this is what you got to do. Fresh lime juice, agave nectar, none of that other sweetener bullshit. You use tequila and Grand Marnier. That's it. Make it easy. I like to throw a little bit of a coconut kind of a juice in there to spice it up. But hey, sometimes you just got to experiment. So I realized last episode I came out hot. We were a couple drinks in. I had a good buzz going. I didn't know what the format of this show was. I didn't know what I was doing. So we've received the notes from the audience, and that's just up in my brain because this hasn't come out yet. But I've realized what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a little bit more. I'm gonna still be snarky and angry for sure, but I'm gonna be a little bit more myself, okay? Because I'm not one of these topic folks. As you could see in episode 1 by the horrifically bad transitions of hosting in between 1 topic and 2, which is me going into this laptop, panicking, and begging Nicole for help. So with this, I got a lot has happened since the last time we recorded, and a lot of things are perfect for this podcast. Like number 1, and let me just tell this one fast because it's a faster thing than this whole saga. I'm going to call it a saga that I'm about to get into, but before that, last night I do a show on the Lower East Side, and the show's great, and it's a bar normally that does comedy once a week there, and I'm waiting outside of the venue because it's packed, so I wait outside of the bar for me to go until I go on stage, and there is a sandwich board, a little A-frame that's got an advertisement for the bar. People do that with chalk and all that stuff, and there was a couple that walked up. And on the sandwich board, it said, and I quote, "Cocktails, music, fun." That's just what it said. And the guy read it. They were a gay couple. And also like a gay couple that they were such disparaging age differences that I was almost like, good for you, older guy. Like he was like a silver fox dude and like a 22-year-old kid with pimples. And you were like, hell yeah, man. Like, I don't know what's going on here, and where you met, but I support it, You ever just see someone super old with someone super young and you're like, I mean, I'm sure money is involved. Maybe this isn't a transactional relationship, but it is in the sense that you probably got money, but maybe not, Maybe they've just discovered love and one of them is old at heart and the other one has an old heart. So whatever, it doesn't matter. But cocktails, music, fun. And the older man read it And he goes, cocktails, music, fun. That sounds great. And then the young guy was like, I'll take a peek. And he walked down the stairs, walked past me, opened the door to the bar, and there was comedy, instantly, like blaring through it. And he stuck his head in and he looked around and he went back and reported to the man. And he just said, they're doing stand-up comedy in there. And this guy, his exact quote and reaction was, ugh, again? Which was so funny to me as a reaction because I just pictured them going into every bar in Manhattan and then there's just a comedy show at every single, like this is the 11th bar that they've tried. And then every single one, they just open the door like cocktails. This sounds great. And he just walks in and they're like, my dick's weird. And he's like, God damn, no, not this one. They go to a different place, come in. I miss my dad. Damn it. All right, and then they just keep going, So that was very fun to witness. And especially what a fun reaction that is to have to an art form that is pure intention is to derive joy, and to give the audience members levity and to have a negative, angry reaction to people trying to make people laugh during an uncertain time is the best New York story I can think of. I mean, there's nothing more New York than that. So cheers to you, New York. Maybe that's what I'll do, Nicole, in between things. I'll do a little cheers to them, There we go. Nicole's going to get drunk by the end of this.
I'm actually really scared. This is not going to go well for me.
You're plowing through yours already. This is
Am
great. I mean, more so than me, but I'm also doing a lot of talking. All right. Now, we got to get into this because this has been the subject of my Instagram stories and I need to provide context and background and fully, So I got a dishwasher, all right? I'm doing pretty well, I'm doing dishwasher well, I'm not maid well, I'm not housekeeper well, but I am doing dishwasher well, which is pretty good. So I have a dishwasher. Occasionally, it runs out of dishwashing soap. So what do? You stroll on down to the Fucky Mart or whatever you're going and you pick up some of the things. So we go out, we're walking Jeet, and my wife and I decide to go in as the man, as the hero, and I go in and I buy the dishwashing detergent thing. And we use the little pods, the little ones, the little squares, you pop them in, you close it, it's done, whatever. And then I buy them, and I'm thinking to myself, I bought it at a bodega. So I am thinking to myself, I wonder how overpriced this is. Because I know it's overpriced, but I wonder how overpriced it is. So I go out and I immediately say to my wife, I go, how much, I just bought the little Tide Pod things. How much do you think they would go for? And she was like, they're probably like $7 or $8. Like normally they're kind of expensive. Tide Pods are kind of expensive. And I was like, that's what I paid. I paid $7.99. So I'm like, that's pretty great. I think I paid a good price for that, right? So I come home, I open up the Tide Pods, I put it into the thing, I close it, I get ready for a show. Erica's had a long, hard, exhausting day. There's nothing she wants to do more than get me out of the apartment so she can watch her Real Housewives and enjoy her life with her dog. That's it. Her life is now, how do I get him out of the house to spend time with my dog and not him? And I honestly get it. But I go to leave, and as I'm leaving, I take one step towards the door into my kitchen, and I step in just an ocean of suds and soap. And I go, well, that's not good because my dishwasher is 6 feet from me. And I turn on the light, and it is just foam mountain. All is just soap suds that have engulfed my entire kitchen, about 2 inches high of just aggressively bubbles and soap coming out, which then leads to the panic. I turn it off. I go in. And Nicole, did you know this? Did you know that Tide Pods are apparently supposed to be for clothes and for laundry and not for dishes? I mean, here's the thing. Everybody that I've said this to has called me a fool, and I will defend myself right here and now, okay? Exhibit A, the Tide Pods, okay? I want you to really get a sense, because Erica was incensed to the point where I think she was going to leave. And now look at this. It doesn't even unzip her. I'm trying to. Is there a way that is the Tide Pod? Is this the company protecting itself that it can't? It's literally not unzip locking. How do you? Is this possible? This is unscripted, folks. It's sealed as if the government secrets are in here, and I can't believe that it. Okay, I'm just gonna rip it apart. Is what's gonna happen. There we go. All right, so I got a Tide Pod. This is what a Tide Pod looks like. I understand kids were eating them or whatever the hell. And it's for detergent. Now, this is what we use on a day-to-day basis. It's Cascade Complete, all right? Not trying to give them a plug. Now, look at the difference between these two. And you tell me that I'm a fool for thinking the Tide Pods and Cascade Complete, look how similar these are. They're identical in every conceivable way. And yet I'm a fucking asshole for filling our entire kitchen up with soap. Nicole, did you know that Tide Pods were not for dishwashers?
I'm actually concerned the drink is working aggressively because I use those for my laundry, and I was just on the edge of my seat for this story, and I was like, oh my God, what happened to the dishwasher? I didn't even question the Tide Pods at all.
Right? Because Tide Pods have become a thing because they became so culturally important with people eating them and stuff. Tide Pods became like saying Kleenex instead of tissue, or using a Q-tip instead of a cotton ear swab or whatever. You just say Tide Pods, and that's what it is when you need a thing. But so my entire, kitchen fills up with all of this soap, right? So that's the precursor to all this. Everybody, I'm a real fucking idiot, I guess, And that's fine. But what I needed to do was we used every single towel we've ever had, we've ever been given, and we've ever seen to clean up all of this. Because the mop that we own is like a show mop. It's like it's not a real mop. It doesn't work like a mop should mop, and it doesn't mop. So it doesn't. So, all of our towels soaking wet, disgusting, the worst. So I have to do some laundry, right? So we go down, and I'll tell you this, I'm doing dishwasher well, and I'm doing drop off my clothes at the laundry level well. That's the level of success that I've reached. I don't do laundry anymore. I think that paying the extra $4 to have somebody else spend 3 hours of their life doing just to fold socks, I'd be like, here's all the money I have. Thank you so much. To not pull hot clothes out of a dryer and get that sweat in your face, there is no price that I won't pay for that. However, in this situation, we needed to do a load. So I go downstairs there's a laundry room in my building, and there's 3 washers and 2 dryers, which already are like, hey, your math not right. So fix that immediately. Get 3 and 3 or 2 and 2, but definitely don't get 3 and 2. But the good news was one of the washers is broken. So really it's 2 and 2, and fuck me. But 2 washers and 2 dryers for an entire building of people. So you really got to time that right. I don't know how many. There's probably 7 apartments on each floor. So there's probably like 30 apartments in this building. That's, a lot to only have 2 washers and 2 dryers, right? So I go down with my clothes, I'm going to wash all this stuff, right? And there is just clothes sitting in the washer. They're done. I don't know how long they've been done for. And I don't know what my next move is. Because my move, I say immediately to Eric, I go, well, I'm going to rip these clothes out and put them on the table or on top of the washer, anywhere but in the washer. Because again, only 2 washers, you're done here, and you haven't. Now, what is the amount of time that I need to wait to not be a rude asshole? First off, Nicole, do you think it's rude that I remove them? And if so, what's the amount of time that you would think is okay to remove them?
No, I don't think it's rude. I did participate in that Instagram poll, and I stand by that. But I don't know. I feel like personally, maybe like an hour. I don't know if it's even too long.
An hour?
Is that too long?
Yes, an hour. Are you out of your mind? I was saying 4 to 5 minutes tops, and then you get. It's up to you as the person to set an alarm on your phone to remind yourself, oh shit, I live in a building with 30 apartments. There might be, it's not, you're a rude, inconsiderate asshole if you leave your stuff in there. That's what I'll say. So I waited like another 15 to 20 minutes because I'm like, maybe it just ended as I got off the elevator and I didn't know. I come back, they're still in there. And I put up a poll on Instagram, as Nicole mentioned, and it was surprisingly close. It was like 56 to 44 or something like, it was too close, people saying that it wasn't rude to remove it. But to the 44% of you, what are you thinking? What are you doing? You either don't live in New York City or you're a person who gets walked all over. That's what I think you are. You know, I was ready to rip them out and then, I wouldn't just throw them on the ground. And people go, well, you can't touch people's clothes post-COVID. Fuck you, all right? You don't want me touching your clothes. Deal with your shit in a way that I don't have to worry about it. So I took them out, put them on the thing, put my stuff in, got to going, And then I did my own thing, and I never saw the other person again. But I don't even know who it was or whose clothes were in there. But the gall that they would have to give me any shit whatsoever for being like, you didn't, no, you shouldn't, you should have left my stuff. I would fist fight that. If it was it might have been my super's wife, who is a small Ecuadorian woman. And if it was her, who's a mother of 3 or 4 children, I just, I'd put on boxing gloves, ding, ding, let's go. I mean, there's just, it'd be uppercuts and crosses, and she'd get a few in, but I think I'd come out the victor. But unbelievable that it blew my mind that people had not only the gall to say that I was rude to taking out, but then to even you saying an hour, Nicole, is like, think about inconveniencing your life for an hour. And then by the way, an hour is like, I guess I'll go and check back a few more times, and then, so here's the thing. This is the other part of the story, right? There was 2 washers. One of them, I took the stuff out. The other one had stuff in, but I was like, I don't need it. I come back, I do my load that I need to do, and the one washer that had stuff in it got taken out, and then more stuff was put in it. So if I had waited the hour, like you had suggested, Nicole, I would have gotten back only to find that now she's doing another load of I'm just blaming it on my super's wife now. I'm just saying it's her. But I would assume that now she's doing another load. Now I need to wait more time, and then who knows how long she leaves that in for. So all of this to say, don't put Tide Pods in the dishwasher is the message of all of this. So, man, that drink gets better with age. Another insane social situation that I got myself into. I took an Uber or a Lyft. I don't think you're allowed to. Again, Uber's another one of those like Tide Pods or Kleenex. I just say Uber. I think I was in a Lyft because now if I say I was in an Uber, people are like, you shouldn't. Don't take Uber's not good. They're wrong to the working class and they don't treat their employees. I don't know, man. Just let me get to where I gotta go. It's if we don't like Uber, just say we're all boycotting Uber, and then Lyft will jack their prices up 75%. And when Uber's half the price, guess what? Your boy's taking Uber. That's how that's gonna work. But free market, baby, capitalism. I get in a Lyft and I'm driving. I was going to a show, and the man, I had just had a coffee, so I was a little self-conscious, had a little bit of the hot breath, the coffee breath, which I'm a big pet peeve is people that are not aware of their smells. I'm hypersensitive to smells, particularly my own. So I will, if you ever see me and I have either bad breath or some sort of BO, know that it's not a plan of mine and that I'm more aware of it than you are, and I'm praying that our interaction ends so that I could go rectify the situation. That's just so that you know a little something about me. If you see me after a show and I was sweating on stage, headlining 45 minutes, and I'm dripping sweat, and maybe I smell of sweat. I don't think I'm not like a person that gets that like spicy BO. You know when someone gets that pungent? What is it? It's pungent? Wait, what is it? Pugnant? Nicole, what is the answer here? Is it pungent? I think it's pungent.
I think that's right.
Pungent. Yeah, that's what it's saying. I have a college education. I graduated in 3 years magna cum laude. I'm not a fucking idiot unless you throw big words like pungent at me, which you didn't throw at me. I suggested to say and botched it for almost 30 seconds. I'm not a spicy BO guy where you leave and the room still smells of, dirty armpit. That's not me. But, it all happens, right? So I had the coffee breath and I'm like, I gotta rectify this, especially when you're wearing a mask. You're just breathing the coffee breath back into your face. It's truly awful. So I say to the Lyft driver, who's a man of, and it only matters, I think it matters for the story in context. He's a man of Indian descent and a very nice man. And I guess, I don't know. But I go, sir, do you have any gum? And he goes, no, my friend, I don't have any gum, unfortunately. And I go, not a problem. I'll get some when I get to where I'm going. And he goes, but I have this, my friend. Take this. And he reaches into his pocket, which already, like, red flag should be going off. But I don't. I'm desperate for better breath. So I'm ready for whatever he's offering. And he pulls out a pill bottle, an orange pill bottle, unmarked. There's no label on it. So again, for sure. Like, what's about to happen? And he hands them to me. And I go, what is this? And he said, they're cloves. And I go, like clove cigarettes? And he goes, no, they're actual cloves, which is a spice. And he goes, you just take a pinch of them and you put them in your mouth and you chew on them and it's great for your teeth and it helps you get better breath. And now listen, I'm a man who's been to a bunch of different countries and a bunch of different cultures. Who am I to put down this man's culture and possibly something that's quite normal outside of American society? So what do? Not thinking of my own safety, I oblige him and just take a healthy pinch of this man's medicine bottle pocket cloves and shove them into my face and start chewing on the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth. And I'm talking, it's awful. It tastes like you're chewing on potpourri. It's like it burns in like a chemically way and it's like spicy, but then it's like a weird mint taste. It's bad. It's not good. So I'm slow chewing these and I'm like, do you chew them and spit them out? Because they have that sunflower seed thing where there's like stuff inside the little balls of the things you're biting. And I'm panicking because I just had a thing of like, I'm eating something from an unmarked pill bottle. What am I doing? Like but I can't spit it out. I can't put down the window and spit it out because I don't want to offend this guy. That's where I'm at mentally. I'm afraid to offend the man who possibly might have just poisoned me or just gave me a hallucinogen of some kind. So I slow chew it, and thankfully we're the last like 2 blocks before I was getting out. So I am just kind of storing it like a squirrel storing nuts for the winter, like in the back of my gums, just being like, yeah, it's right here on the left, just whatever. And I swear to God, the man pulls over and he looks at me, goes, okay, my friend, have a good day. I go, you too. And he goes, oh, wait a sec, like Columbo, like an Indian Columbo. He just goes, my friend, one more thing. And he goes into his center console and he goes, I actually did have gum, and then gave me cinnamon gum. And I go, what do you do? What? Why? Why would you not? Every part of that interaction is crazy to me because it took a very trusting party in myself and an open-minded one at that. And it took a very bold man to be like, have my pocket pills. And then also, here's gum. If I was him and I'm like, oh, fuck, I did have gum. Don't offer me the gum, man. It's too late for that. I've already agreed to oblige you on your pocket cloves. And now I don't want your gum. And of course, I took the gum because I needed the gum because I had little fucking branches in my mouth that were, just stabbing me and tasting awful. So I took the gum. But then again, of all the gum and all the gin joints across the world, the man had cinnamon Trident. And you're like, I guess, that's such barely gum, and, I was grateful to get the gum, but like on the pecking order of gum, Trident is like a barely notch above Bazooka. Like, it's basically just like hard thing to immediately change the flavor in your mouth for 3 to 4 minutes. And, you know, it's hard. It doesn't. And then cinnamon gum is also like the lowest rung of gum flavor that you could have, which I get into a fight with my wife about. She loves cinnamon gum, and I'm like, give me peppermint, give me spearmint, give me just about any. I'll take some of these Eclipse Arctic Blast, you know, like a Polar Chill. I'll take whatever it sounds cool and cold and minty. I need a mint-based thing. There was a kid who gave me a piece of gum outside New York Comedy Club one time. We had all smoked, so we very much were cottonmouth. And the man gave me, I go, does anyone have gum? And he goes, I got gum. And that's like the greatest. You just kiss somebody on the lips. You go, thank God. Yes, thank you so much. And he gives me a gum. I don't look at it. I pop it right in my mouth, and it's cinnamon. And this is all I'll say to you cinnamon heads out there, the cinnamon clan, as you're known on social media by your hashtags and your profiles. You cinnamon clan people, warn us. You're not the majority. You're the minority, okay? You're the minority gum chewer who prefers cinnamon. So if you offer me a piece of gum, just go, yeah, I got gum right here. By the way, it's cinnamon. That way I know going in, because when I put it in my mouth, I am expecting a mint Polar Blast Arctic Chill, but instead I got spicy? Who chooses spicy as a flavor they want in their mouth? Not me. Not Nicole, hopefully. Nicole, where do you stand on cinnamon gum?
No, I hate it.
And it's not like I won't refuse cinnamon gum. I just need a heads up, okay? Could you do me that much? Do us all that much in society. And I said this as much to the man who offered me the cinnamon gum. And his response was, that makes sense. Yeah, here's the thing. Like, I don't like mint, so like I never even think about it. And you're like, okay, I guess. But if you're in a bar, you can't just go around and be like, I don't like beer, so I guess everyone's drinking seltzer, right? Like, you have to know your surroundings and know that you're maybe different than the rest, and that's fine, but also it's not fine. So get your shit together. That's what I'll say. There. What a cool ASMR sound this is, though, right? This is kind of like anybody who's even a little bit struggling with their alcohol intake is for sure just sweating nervously when they hear this, and they're just like, is it time yet? I'm on my way to work. Is it too early? All right. Okay. Nicole, you were here for this. This happened yesterday. And I don't have anything to say about it. Or maybe I'll have a lot to say about it. I didn't write anything prepared to say about it. But yesterday, we're leaving recording. Here's a scenario. Check it out. Available everywhere. Laugh Button Network and just in general. You'd love it. We're leaving the studio, and there is a man sitting at an outdoor cafe in a very tiny table, and he has a full typewriter at the table, and it's in a box that he obviously took it with him in, which I think is like almost like a rolling suitcase. It was so big, and he's just clacking away at the typewriter, and then occasionally and everyone around him is like, you know. And what is the, if that wasn't a social experiment to see how long humans can deal with annoying behavior before someone were to walk up and just smash his face into the keys, then what's that guy's problem? That's my question. Who do you think you are, that you think that you can go to a place with already like an obnoxious typewriter and then set up in the middle of everyone and then just clackety clack away and just fucking and then you're putting up your paper, you're making sure you adjust it because everybody knows when you type, it's got to be important because, hey, guess what? There's no room for errors. There's no room for mistakes on my typewriter. I have never wanted to push a table over more in my life just to see what would happen. Because even if I started pushing the table over and he tried to catch it, it would drag him, he would pull him down. I mean, it looked like it was a 400-pound typewriter. And Did you notice that, Nicole, when I took a picture of it? Because I was obsessed with it.
Yeah, not until you called attention to it.
It's all I see. And it's all I've been thinking about since yesterday, to be honest with you, and we saw crime yesterday in the park. We saw violence, we saw drugs, we saw crime, and none of it angered or upset me as much as a man with a typewriter. And I want to go back to his apartment and see how he lives. I just wanted to stalk this man and see what he lived like, because he's got hard opinions on cars and television. He doesn't have either because he doesn't believe they're good for us. I'm sure he's you know what he is? I bet he's a foldable bicycle kind of a guy. You know those people who have the foldable bikes that have the little tiny tires and it's like a little razor scooter, but it's a bicycle and they can take it on the subway with them, but it's got leather seats and you're like, this is actually kind of nice. I bought it at, fucking, J. Crew or something like that. I don't know. And I guarantee he doesn't have television because he's way too analog. You're so analog, baby. Look how cool you are. Anyway, I don't have anything to say about this guy. I just think that if you're a fan and you're listening and you have a typewriter, keep it in your home, okay? Go ahead and don't take it with you to places, especially to outdoor cafes, because you look like a douche, you sound like a douche, and now people are going to talk about you on their podcast with not much to say outside of you're a douche for upwards of like 5 or 6 minutes. So hope you're happy, That's it. That's such a delicious drink. I just need to keep reiterating to you guys, as good as this looks and sounds, it tastes better. Okay. Oh, I forgot about this too. Another, boy, oh boy, I'm chock full of stories. Here's the thing. Without Irish Goodbye, I got no outlet for stories, but I do think this all plays in to one another. This is a story of how technology saved my night and almost ruined my life. I'd never been on one of those the moped. You can rent a moped here like you would rent a city bike or something. And like Lime is the company that has them. And you get a full moped and it's like 30 cents a minute and they're the most fun thing ever to ride. So I've never been on one. Brendan Sagalow has been taking them all over the place. So I was like, I'm going to try it. And I tried it to go to a show in Brooklyn. And frankly, it was a fantastic experience. I mean, I had my music playing. I had the big helmet on. I'm zipping. I feel like I was Jim Carrey and Yes Man, just looking for a way too young woman to have a love interest with, And so I'm driving all the way to Brooklyn. I get all the way from Astoria. I get over the bridge to Brooklyn. I get no problems. I mean, it's like 70 degrees out. The sun is setting. I'm playing music. Life is good. No traffic issues whatsoever. And I get 2 blocks from the venue. And I'm just getting to that point of like, I guess I should figure out where to park this. And I'm sure also, this has been a great experience. I'm kind of reminiscing about the trip that just was, about how fun this is, how I'll probably use it a lot more going forward. And as I'm going 29 miles an hour on this thing, I feel something leave my person. And I hear a noise. And out of the corner of my eye, I look, and my phone has fallen out of my pocket and just disappeared. It just hit the ground and exploded into stardust, and it's gone forever, while I'm also going 29 miles an hour in the opposite direction. So I have a full panic because I'm like, I hope it's not. I can't just stop in the middle of the street. So I had to go another probably 100 feet to the end of the block, pull over, jump out. Now I got a big old dumb helmet on and I'm running around looking for my phone, and it's not in the middle of the street anywhere. I heard it go like sliding. So I'm like, it's probably under a car somewhere. So now I'm leaving my moped on and running, available to be stolen at any point by anyone. And I am walking around. And by the way, now the sun is set, so it is dark. So I would love a cell phone light, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you just love a cell phone light to be able to find your cell phone? I'm looking for it, can't find it anywhere. I'm going under each car, peeking under it. People think I'm like setting up bombs underneath their cars because I'm like on my hands and knees and then like scurrying away, and I have the helmet on, and the helmet did not help my cause whatsoever. So I start within about 3 to 4 minutes, I start getting into that like what am I going to do now with my life? Like everything starts falling apart. Like the fact that the phone might be gone. I also have a spot. I need to be on stage in like 15 minutes. So there's multiple clocks running here. Again, every second that moped is on, it's charging me money. And the only way to stop it is to find my cell phone because that's the only thing to end the current session. So I am panicking. And there's no pedestrians walking by that I could be like, hey man, could I borrow your cell phone line for a sec? Which who's going to say yes to that anyway? But there was no one even walking around. And occasionally cars would come and I'm like searching in the light. And then I realized, oh my God, I got my AirPods in. So I could just talk to Siri, right? So I'm like, hey, Siri, fucking, where you at? Where you at, girl? Tell me. Make a noise. I didn't even know if that was a capability of my iPhone. But I'm like, hey, Siri, I don't know where you are. Make a noise. And surprisingly, she's responding to me right now, ironically, but she wasn't then. Turn this off. But I said, see, okay, now, yeah, it's all okay. Huh? It's all okay. But I go, hey Siri, where are you? And she doesn't respond. And I go, play a noise, call somebody. I actually said this. I tried to call the booker of the comedy club. I go, call Mike. And she calls him. He doesn't answer his phone because why would he answer his phone? And now I have this decision. I go, should I get back on the moped, go to the comedy club, grab one of the comedians' phones, go back to the location and search with a light, or just keep checking under the same 5 cars I've checked for the last 15 minutes? It's been about 15 minutes now, and I'm very close to having to go on stage. So I'm really panicking and sweating. Like all of the fun that just happened is gone. Now I'm having a terrible, awful time. So I'm talking to the thing, and thank God again for these AirPods because I walked far enough down the block that they got disconnected. So I'm like, okay, I know it has to be in this area, right? So I say again, I go, make another phone call. So to make a phone call, and this is what I do this time, pretty ingenious. I go down on my hands and knees and look all the way down the line of cars from underneath the front end of one car, and I go, call Mike. And then when it calls it, it lights up your LED light. And I finally found it, and it was underneath the wheel of a tire of a parked car. Like it had slid perfectly wedged underneath the front tire of a car. And God forbid this person were to leave, they would have crushed it into a bazillion pieces. And then I had to get there. And then I run, and I'm like with a helmet on running into the venue to try and do the spot. And wouldn't you believe it? I talked about it on stage. They didn't care for it. So I don't know if anybody will with this, but what I will say is if you're going to use a Lime, there's a little thing for your phone. Put it in there. Just go ahead and put it in there, and wear AirPods, because if you lose your phone, you're totally fucked. It is just, they should have a backup plan on the Lime where it's like, did you lose your phone? Okay, we'll shut this off and stop charging you now. I don't know how they're going to do that, but that would be my plea. And that's, kind of the end of it. Have you ever been on one of those mopeds, Nicole?
No, I haven't. But they have a phone pocket?
It's not even a pocket. It's like a little like arms-free device thing. And I thought it wasn't going to get big enough because I have a phone in a case. And I'm like, I don't want to take it out of this case because one of these stupid cases that's like, once it's on for life. Like you try to take it off and it rips your nails right off. It's like a POW torture in order to get this off. So I go, oh, it's not going to be big enough for my phone. And then I realized on the way home, it absolutely expands to all shapes and sizes. So I was just a fucking idiot, I guess. But speaking of idiots, we got to talk about this. This is actually the first newsworthy thing that I'm talking about in this episode. And we're going to get more of these. And by the way, if you have things that you think you'd like me to rant about, or things that even you think, things that make you angry, things that you think will make me angry, send them to me. You can message me on Instagram at @IamLikeFeeney, or send them to me, snarkypodcast@gmail.com. Send me as many or as few as you want, things that'll annoy you. And I will talk about them on the podcast. I do a bonus, probably like 15 to 20 minutes of this show on the Patreon where I talk about exclusively things that people have mentioned that I'm very excited about. I'm going to do after this episode. I mean, some of these are so fantastic. Listen to me. These are perfect examples of what I would want from you guys. People who leave empty food containers and they put them back in the fridge or cabinet with a very little amount of milk in them. Things like that. Love that. Let's see, bottled water, which is like, I got a whole theory about bottled water, and I'll rant about that. Absolutely. Let's see. People that leisurely stroll across a 4-lane, 40-mile-per-hour road with headphones on, not even considering traffic, zooming by them. I mean, all of these, and people who take too long to order in a drive-thru. I mean, all of these things are perfect and exactly what I want. So send those again to me, snarkypodcast@gmail.com. And you guys can follow me on social media. You can watch my comedy special, Rage Against the Routine, and leave a 5-star review for this show, would you? I think after this, we'll probably release it everywhere. If not, this will just be a thing that Nicole and I do once a week and no one's ever heard. But please tell some friends about this. You know, I we're going to build this from the ground up, little grassroots thing, and it always will be early on the Here's the Scenario Patreon, patreon.com/scenariopod. I mean, there's legitimately hundreds of hours of content in that. So check that out. And I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad you're listening. And now I'm glad that this has actually kind of developed into a bigger news story from when I originally wrote it down to talk about this, because there was a television show that CBS ordered, and it was Usher, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, and Julianne Hough. They were going to host a competition series called The Activist. And this is the description of the show. Activists go head-to-head in challenges to promote their causes, with their success measured via online engagement, social metrics, and hosts' input. I mean, of all the terrible ideas that have ever been pitched for television, in life, in general, this is up there with Michael Jordan leaving basketball to play baseball, Crystal Pepsi, my parents getting married. Like, this is up there with all of the bad decisions that you could have. It's so hilariously tone deaf and dystopian to be like, we're going to do this oppression Olympics and just see who can do a better job at charity. And now, since they got absolutely lit up on social media by everybody, to the point where CBS had to walk it back. And it's so fun. They issued this whole statement, and it's great because CBS, it's like all these big corporations, they kind of have to respond to the Twitter mob. That's the downfall of being a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, I guess. But it is funny because their reaction was kind of like this, like, oh, you know what? Yeah, okay. Now that you mentioned it, it does seem kind of shitty. Like, we honestly didn't think you noticed, but you did notice, and that's cool, and we support you guys. So we're not going to do it because it's wrong. So now they're not doing it anymore. Nope. They are just not doing it as a reality show. They're still doing the show, but now they're going to turn it into a docu-series. A docu-series, huh? Isn't that fun? A multi-part documentary now. If there's anything less fun than a salacious reality show, it's watching documentaries. And we're going to have to watch Julianne Hough and her 11 six-packs that she has on her chest and her incredible body, and Usher, who's equally rich, waking up in an all-white, beautiful infinity pool mansion in the Hollywood Hills. We're going to have to see them be like, it's time to help St. Jude's. Get the fuck right out of here, pal. You're out. Get out of here. The whole CBS, I'm excited for this doc. I will watch this docuseries only for the fact of them being like, you know what? It's honestly time that we've done something. And you're like, you could write a check, but I bet you're getting paid for this show, aren't you? And are you giving more money than you're raising? Because probably not, you know? But boy, oh boy, of all of this is how bad they got ratioed. I've never seen a ratioing like this in my life since like Kevin Spacey was like, I'm back after like, diddling kids. They had 562 retweets, which I think half of those have got to be like, look at this. 27,000 quote retweets. 27,000 to 500. And 27,000 were like, can you fucking believe this shit? I love a good quote retweet, They're fucked. They are so fucked. But good for you, CBS. Swing for the fences. They've already invested so much money in that show. They can't just scrap the whole idea, you know? So it is what it is. They talked. Oh, and other new news that's happening. In other news, I just turned into a fucking Walter Cronkite. In other news, there's a conflict in the Middle East. I saw the new Matrix trailer. And Nicole, where do you stand on the Matrix?
I don't want to offend you. I haven't seen any of them, so I'm not.
Doesn't offend me at all. I am a fan of the Matrix, the trilogy, and that's about it. I thought they were great, fun movies to watch. I don't need to ever watch them again. I don't need to watch any of the spin-offs or any of it. It was fine. A little too sci-fi for me, but I mean the original is great. The second one's good. It's whatever. It's fine. But the new one they have coming out, they're calling it a remix, which it's like, what's that now? What are you doing? What is it? Okay, because it's not a prequel. It's supposed to be a sequel, but they're like, it's not a sequel because the timelines are different because of the other stories that we've created and cartoons that it follows some weird story that isn't just the first three. And they have the character that Lawrence Fishburne played in it is somebody else is playing Lawrence Fishburne. And it's like a younger character that kind of looks like Lawrence Fishburne, but isn't. And you're like, so what is it? Is it him or is it not him? Because Keanu Reeves looks older. He's got John Wick hair now. And so it's like, he's got I love how John Wick and Keanu Reeves in general is just wearing like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction hair and no one's talking about it. Just the pin straight black shoulder hair parted down the middle. Cool. Okay. What's that about? No one's going to address it? All right. Fine. We'll just pretend that that's normal, I guess. But all I want to know is like, I was like, Lawrence Fishburne's not in it. And then they go, but he can't be in it because the timeline's different, blah, blah, blah. And I go, okay. And then I saw Trinity, who's a character in it. She's in it. And they like hadn't met yet. And in the trailer, she's like, hi, do I know you from somewhere? And he's like, mm-hmm. And it's like she died in The Matrix. She died in the last one. And so what timeline are we following? Is she dead? Is she not dead? Where's Lawrence Fishburne? This is the whole thing about me being like, where is Lawrence Fishburne? And that's because the Wachowski brothers are now the Wachowski sisters. I think they've both. What are the odds of that, by the way? Can we talk about that for a second? Of twins? I think they're Nicole, look up if they're twins or if they're just like brothers. Not brothers anymore, sisters. They both transitioned into a woman. And I don't know what the odds of that are, but it's got to be like almost zero to have two brothers both transition into women. And it's kind of wild because, you know, they've gotten very obviously political. They've become a little more activists into it. But I feel like one of them really, really wanted to transition. And the other one's like, well, we've done everything together so far, so I might as well just follow you into this journey. Or maybe it's one of those shared twin things where they're like, we have the same thoughts. And this thought is we want to be a woman. And then they change to be a woman, which is great, you know? But both of them, it's pretty rare, I'd say. Right, Nicole?
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that.
I've never heard of that. Do we know if they're twins?
I'm looking this up right now. A lot of these articles are kind of scary, so I'm trying to find a good one.
Yeah, also, and this is nothing against anybody who transitions. I fully support it. Go get it, girl. But the Wachowski sisters, I mean, they were never attractive men. I'll put it that way. You know what I'm saying? And transitioning has not changed that. That's the way I'll say that. They look equally as attractive now as they did while they were unattractive men. But, you know, that's their journey. And who am I, as a cisgendered straight white male with a microphone and a loud opinion, to comment on anything anymore about anything? The That's it. That's all about them. But that Matrix trailer, it's going to be terrible. I think it's going to be really awful. And if you're a Matrix fan and you're holding out hope, you're going to be disappointed, Wow. This is really flying by this episode, Nicole.
Yeah, you're crushing it.
This feels great. Speaking of crushing it, there is a I can't get out of a news anchor type transition to things. The COVID's not dead, and now there is a South African variant. Have you heard about this? You know about this, Nicole? Now I turn into Leno. Heard about this? Know about this?
No.
There's a South African variant, and they said, and this is the little graphic and little chyron that I saw for it on the news. It said, it goes, it's the South African COVID variant, the most. Where did it say? It said possibly the most mutated yet, and that's all it said. And I gotta say, at this point, I just love that COVID is like an Avengers franchise now. They all just, it's like a sequel. They get all their own movies. It started with COVID-19. That was the origin story. We all started with that. We figured it out. Then all of a sudden they were like, that was a success. Let's order the sequel. Delta variant. Blew up the numbers, did crazy well in Florida and a bunch of the South states. Texas, it crushed, everybody loved it. And then they're like, we got to work in more diversity. So the next one, they're like, South African variant. That's how we'll work it in. We'll give, a spin-off to some of it. And then the next one's going to be like, maybe it's going to be like a crossover within the same multiverse, maybe it'll be a universe shared thing, but maybe it'll be a different multiverse where they'll be like, now we're going to have a crossover with the flu, you know what I mean? The flu will be like, what took you so long? And then they'll kind of have a battle for who's the bigger flu thing. And then it will end with COVID Endgame. And that will be, of course, the end of civilization as we know it. So I'm kind of looking forward to it because I don't think that COVID at this point is something that's ever going to be gone. I think it's just going to be constantly morphic, and not in a way they're we're never going back to normal again, but I think it's something like the flu. We're just gonna have to deal with it and all of its variants every single year, and and that's gonna suck ass. So that's what I think about that. And I look forward to COVID Endgame. All right, home stretch, people. I think you guys are enjoying this. I don't need to warn you that it's gonna end soon. I think I can just let you know we're gonna continue this. I have some other things that I'd like to say. This is great. I'm actually going to have stuff to talk about next week. That isn't just me panicking. Okay. Couple things. Number one, people in movies and TV shows. I was watching a movie and they were getting into an argument. And how many times have you seen this? Two people get into an argument, and one person says the line to win the argument, or at least to be like, fuck you, and check your argument and raise. And they go and that's why the Mitsubishi Eclipse didn't start for you. And then they start walking away, and then the person's like, Vanessa, come on, Vanessa. And they sit there while the person walks away, as if calling out to them once, and if that didn't work, well, there's no other option at that point. You just have to let them walk away and sit there and stare at your feet. And I get it. It's a great way to transition into the next scene for a television or movie, but it's so impractical. Have you ever been in an argument with somebody and they get up and start walking away in the middle of the argument? Do you let them? Because I don't. I will be like, where are you going? Now I'm mad about another thing, which is that you thought you were just going to fucking drop the mic on me and walk away. Now I will follow you to the end of the earth. Just follow the person. Because that's the thing. They're like, well, I don't know what to. It's always in rom-coms. Like, I don't know. She walked away. She left. And now I don't know if I'll ever see her again. It's like, yeah, it's because you let her fucking walk away, bro. Go up there. Keep talking to her, plead your case, do whatever you got to do, but don't just let her walk away. Otherwise, what are we doing here? I don't know. That's it. I thought I had more to say, but sometimes it's a very easy situation. It's a very easy thing to fix. Walk with them, and then we got it. But the whole, no, don't follow them. That's it. Chase after him. That's it. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to wrap it up soon. Okay. The drink is finished. Okay. Quick thing. Maybe this, I don't know what this is either, but that's what I like about this show. I can say things, sometimes things, not always, this very much annoys me. Walked up to a group of people outside of a comedy club, comics, and they go, we were just talking about you, which is maybe the worst thing to ever walk into ever in any situation. If you're like me, there's not an opening statement I hate worse. I wish if I walked up and a group of people went, "Oh, Mike, we hate you," I would be less annoyed and anxious than, "Mike, we were just talking about you," because, and here's the other thing. If you say that, don't pause afterwards. We were just talking about you. No, you immediately, before even ending that sentence, say what it is you were talking about me for. Say what you were saying. Don't make me have to go and panic, because then I'm going to do some self-effacing, like, "Oh, I'm sure the rumors are true." I'll say some horrifically embarrassing line to try and save face, or being like, "None of it's true," or whatever. Like, she was 18. I'll say something that'll be fun, but I'll want to know. And this person was like, they did the pause, and he made me go, "What were you talking about?" And then he told me, but he did it in such a way where, like, he was shocked that I asked the follow-up, as if maybe it was just him going, "Well, of course it would be a good thing that we were talking about. Why would it?" But you're like, how am I to know that? I am a person who is yelling into a camera for the attention of many or few. I don't know, but do you think I'm the kind of person with the self-preservation to not be inquisitive about what you may or may not, my colleagues, my friends, my family might be talking about? I gotta know. I hate that. Nicole, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten that walking up to people. I've gotten a lot of wrong person text messages, or like walked up on someone talking shit about me, but never
"Oh no,
we were just talking about you."
Yeah, because even if they're like, it wouldn't matter. That's the other thing too. Once they say we were just talking about you, and you're like, "Oh, what was it?" If they were like, "Oh, we were just talking about how like funny and sexy and great you are," it'd be like, well, of course, those things are all true, but like I still wouldn't believe that that's what they were talking about. If they're like, "Oh, you're like the voice of a generation," I'd be like, "Listen, I know we're all just saying facts at this point, but I'm not going to believe that's what you were talking about. I'm always going to think you were talking shit. So just don't say that, And I have a nice code word, which I feel like I shouldn't even say, because I like to use it as a code word when I'm in public with like close friends. But I'll tell you guys on the podcast, and if for some reason I say it as you're walking up to me, know that I was just talking shit about you. But if I'm with a group of my close friends, and we're talking shit about somebody, and that person is walking up, what I say to them, to my friends, and we all know this, so it's like, it's code. I just start saying like, "It's blue." You just say "it's blue." That's because it's a completely, if you're talking shit about somebody and they start walking up and you go, "Oh no, but it's blue. So it's blue. It's fine." And then they walk up and you're like, and they go, "What was blue?" And you're like, "Ah, the sky." Like you can just, it doesn't matter. It's not like shh, because otherwise people go like, and they like do eye movements and like, like that kind of thing. You just go, "Oh, it's blue." And then people go, "Blue, right, I get you." And then they walk in, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" "Nothing. Definitely not talking about your fucking Crocs that you decided to wear to this wedding." Whatever it is. So, here's the thing. I think that's it, folks. I think we're gonna end on "It's blue." And just so you know, like I said, we're in it. This podcast is in its infancy, and we'll be doing it. It'll be coming out every week. So again, you can watch the video on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mike Feeney Comedy, and listen to it on iTunes and places where you get podcasts. And leave a review, send it to friends. Do all that stuff, because again, this is a lot of work. Nicole and I are. Nicole's coming over. She's got microphones. She's got equipment. She's setting up. She's doing everything. I'm getting her drunk in the middle of the day. We're doing. And Nicole, where can people find you on social media? Follow Nicole.
Thanks. My Instagram is Nicole C. Lyons. My website is NicoleLyons.co.
Hell yeah. Any like social media clip you see for this podcast, anyone that you've seen for Here's a Scenario, that's all Nicole, and they're fantastic. She also does like the Mike Takes Edibles on Mike Cannon, and like a bunch of other. She's fantastic, great editor, great producer. So support the producers. You know, we got to start getting the producers in this business. The producer, I should clarify. We have to get the producers in this business who don't want to be stand-up comedians more shine, because a lot of producers very quickly want to become talent, and they want to be like on air, like, oh, I'll be a little personality. But Nicole is the best in that she's like, I'll talk into a mic if I have to, but don't make me, and that's why she's the best. So again, follow the show, do all that. Listen to Here's a Scenario. Watch my stuff. Come see a live show. And until next week, just fucking go ahead and get mad about stuff.